Looking to stock up on high-quality Ayurvedic herbs? I've partnered with two of my trusted sources, Kerala Ayurveda and Gary & Son, to offer you 20% off their entire range of authentic products. From classical formulas to single herbs and seasonal must-haves, these are staples I use in my own practice. Use code Ojas Oasis for Kerala Ayurveda, Ojas Oasis 20 for Gary & Son. Links are in the show notes. Supporting your healing journey just got a little bit easier. In Ayurveda, nourishment isn't only about what we take in for the body, but also what we offer the heart. That's why we're honored to share Aura Cacao, a ceremonial grade cacao we've chosen as a dharmic partner for the Ojas Oasis community. Aura Cacao supports meditation, heart-opening rituals, and moments of conscious presence. As an exclusive gift for our listeners, use Ojas Oasis 20 for 20% off, and you'll find the link in the show notes. Welcome to Ojas Oasis, the podcast where ancient wisdom meets the modern being. I'm your host, Sasha Brzezinski, Ayurvedic doctor and guide on this journey into the heart of holistic wellness. If life has felt unusually intense, uncertain, emotional, or even a little chaotic lately, you are not alone. We are in eclipse season, a liminal space in which what has been hidden can rise to the surface. Familiar structures may begin to shift, and life can seem to move faster than our minds can fully process. On August 27th, we will experience a powerful partial lunar eclipse. In Vedic astrology, lunar eclipses are associated with culmination, revelation, emotional release, and the illumination of unconscious patterns. But no two eclipses carry exactly the same energy. The nakshatra, or lunar mansion in which an eclipse occurs, helps determine its particular nature. Each of the 27 nakshatras carries its own planetary ruler, presiding deity, symbolism, and spiritual purpose. An eclipse moving through a nakshatra associated with nourishment, for example, may illuminate themes around belonging and emotional security, while an eclipse occurring in a nakshatra connected to transformation may initiate endings, awakenings, or profound interchange. This upcoming eclipse takes place in Shatabisha, a nakshatra associated with healing, mystery, truth, and the uncovering of what has been concealed. Its name is often translated as 100 healers or 100 medicines, yet Shatabisha can also bring periods of solitude, disruption, or emotional distance, asking us to turn inward and encounter the parts of ourselves that are ready to be understood and healed. And while an eclipse carries a collective theme, it does not affect everyone in precisely the same way. Its personal significance depends upon where the eclipse falls within your individual birth chart, which planets it touches, and how its nakshatra connects with your own. This is why one person may experience a relationship shift, another may feel called toward a new purpose, and someone else may feel simply exhausted, sensitive, or deeply reflective. Today, I am joined by my dear friend Narasingha to help us understand the deeper significance of eclipse season through the wisdom of Vedic astrology. We explore why eclipses can feel so destabilizing, how the nakshatras shape their expression, and how we can move through these cosmic thresholds with greater awareness rather than fear. If your life feels messy right now, if relationships are changing, emotions are surfacing, or the path ahead suddenly feels unclear, this conversation is here to remind you that you are not alone. Perhaps the chaos is not evidence that everything is falling apart. Perhaps something hidden is simply becoming visible, so that a more honest and aligned chapter can begin. Let's get to our chat. All right.
Okay.
Welcome to Ojas Oasis, Naraji.
Thank you, Sasha.
Thank you so much for
Dr.
being
Sasha.
here. So Nara is do you feel comfortable with me introducing you as a Vedic scholar?
Student.
Student.
Yes.
Okay.
It's so vast. There's so much to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And I prefer to think of myself as a student under the direction, the guidance of my guru. So to be one who's actually very knowledgeable in the Vedic life, it's not an intellectual position. So Vedic knowledge should be understood like that. It's not an add-on to our mental bank of what I know, what I'm good at. Vedic knowledge is realized understanding of yourself as a spiritual being. And realized understanding is very, very high and very, very rare. And persons who are actually knowers of the subject or gurus are very rare. And in this world, it's very easy for all of us to kind of pick up little titles or ways of thinking of ourselves that enlarge our ego, which is not useful in this path. Mm-hmm. So best we always think of ourselves as students and disciples and very, very fortunate to be under the guidance of Guru.
Mm. Leading with humility.
Yeah, and it has to be genuine. That's another one. I'll tell you a story. When I was in India originally in 76 for a few years, and I was looking at that time for my guru's spiritual life. I mean, Indian mysticism was huge. I'd read Ram Dass. I didn't know, So at one point I was in Sarnath, which is where the Buddha gave his first sermon. He sat under the bo tree in Bodh Gaya. I sat under there. Didn't work for me, but anyway. And then I went to Sarnath, and there was this temple, little temple. It was very beautiful. And 3 walls had kind of scenes that an artist had made from the Buddha's life. And one wall, a huge wall, was like, in very great humility, I am acknowledging that I was so fortunate to be able to paint all these things, and his signature is like 12 feet long or whatever.
Yes.
So, it's...
the importance of humility.
Yeah, it's... it has to be a natural expression. And I don't know how people can be genuinely humble unless they've met a guru whose personality is so luminous and huge and kind. Otherwise, what's there to push us down?
Very true.
Yeah.
When we were scheduling this months ago, months ago, when I first got here and moved here, and you were one of the first friends that I made, first people that I met in Austin. And I remember just thinking, we could go in so many different directions. Obviously, there's so many different topics we can cover.
Yeah.
And it just so happens that we're in eclipse season. We just had the big solar eclipse. And this is an interesting time to be alive because there's so much information in the world. And I think many people are very confused about the significance of this cosmic event. And how it impacts us. There's a lot of people traveling to go view the eclipse and lack of awareness about how to eat on a day of the eclipse and how to what kinds of impressions to be taking in under this influence, and what is the influence, and what is the moon, and what is the sun, and wow. How do they affect us? And so I would love to really focus our episode today on this, because I was just noticing how few people during just a few days ago, how few people understood what it is, and also how to be with it.
Yeah. Well, I want to say 2 totally different things to begin with. And the first one, to be immediately relevant and fun. So a few years ago, there was a movie called Independence Day. I don't know if you saw it. It was a big, Hollywood blockbuster, whatever. And basically it began, I don't really remember, but I saw the beginning and I thought it was brilliant. There's this huge alien mothership, spaceship, hanging over different places in the earth, but they're looking at the one hanging over New York. And in New York, you've got all these people, they're like turned on to aliens and New Age and whatever. And they're all having a huge welcome the alien party. And they've all gone to the tops of these different skyscrapers. And they've got banners, welcome, I don't know, like our brothers and sisters from another planet. You're so welcome. We're so happy to receive you. Universal love and peace, enlightenment, blah, blah. Anyway, then the movie opens by the belly of the ship opening and these dreadful death rays, lasers or whatever coming out. And these people are completely blown up.
I remember. I do remember that movie. And yes.
So, in other words, our sentiment, what we're attracted to, can get us into a lot of trouble. I mean, just as another aside, how many of all of us get attracted by a potential mate because of, I don't know, they're so attractive, they're so charming, they're so whatever they are, and then we get in relationship, and then when the honeymoon's over, and then we get to the nitty-gritty of who we each are and with each other, there's a reason that over 50% of marriages end in divorce. There's a reason why most of us have many relationships that never make it to marriage. It's because we're following a very external, superficial attraction that is not at all aligned with truth and reality. And I'm making that point in relation to the eclipses. But before I go further on that, I just wanted to address, you used a couple of great words. You mentioned information and awareness. And I have to give a little Vedic perspective on all of this. And it leads into astrology and everything. Okay. So bear with me, because I have to give you the context of everything that I'd be talking about, the perspective. So there are many different cultures and beliefs in the world, and you may or may not appreciate the Vedic one, the ancient Indian one, Vedanta, all these things. But you should know that in the Vedic teachings, the teachers represent exactly what they teach. They represent a complete freedom from the condition of being in a body and a mind. They have complete control, which is one of the meanings of yoga, over their senses. They don't jump towards things because of what's in it for them. They're completely absorbed on the spiritual platform. I'm not going to go into detail what that is now, because that's not the topic of today. But when you start hearing from them the Vedic philosophy, it is so profound, it is so vast, it is so detailed. I'm a very challenging, questioning person. And I was quite intelligent as a kid, and I was always getting into trouble at school, because the intelligent ones apparently always do, because we don't conform very well. We're always rebelling. And I could never accept anybody as an authority over me. I didn't see anybody worthwhile surrendering to. Look, I see how you live. I see where you're at. I don't want to be like you. Right? That's simple as that.
Yeah.
When I met my guru, that was all completely shot. He blew me away. And again, I'm not going to go into the stories, but then I began to read his teachings, and I just entering a magnificent world. Like Emerson and Thoreau, they talk about Bhagavad Gita, that every day I bathe my intellect in the cosmogonal philosophy of Bhagavad Gita, which in a previous age answered all the questions that come to us. This is Thoreau. And Emerson also. These are very brilliant, thoughtful people, and they're just in complete awe of the Vedic teachings. Okay, so the Vedic teaching is totally opposite to what we learn in school, that everything came by accident out of nothing. There was a big bang. Mm-hmm. They can't explain to you what was it that banged and how and why and where did the laws by which the bang took place come from and where did time come from. They can't explain any of that. You're just meant to accept it, right? There was a big bang. It was a complete mess, and it became this magnificent universe that is connected in every possible way. I mean, the dynamic pattern of interconnectedness between everything. What's that poem that you cannot disturb a flower without agitating a star or something? The interconnection of everything. All right. So, and then after a while, somehow or other, dull matter, just, was a sludge, it was lightning, and it became life. And then life became consciousness and became more and more and more and more. And here we are. We're the pinnacle. We're the top. We're the top of the deal, right? Even though we're constantly seeing examples of old knowledge, old buildings that we can't begin, never mind duplicate, we can't understand. They're just technologies that just blow us away. Okay. So the Vedic vision is, that is really wrong. So they explain clearly that time, cosmic time, is divided into a year. And the year is divided into 4 seasons. Satya Yuga, Yuga means age, then Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga is the age we're living in now. This is a 432,000 year age. It's been here for 5,500 years. The other ages are much longer. And without going into the whole Vedic cosmology, but it'll take you through billions and billions and billions of years, and life has been here, and consciousness have been here, and we've been here. You and me have been here, not in this body, from the beginning of this universe. We've been in one body after another, and before that we were in a previous universe. And it's trillions of quadzillions of lives. It's unimaginable how thick ignorance and illusion are. So, Kali Yuga is the most ignorant age. Therefore, you mentioned humility earlier. One great indicator of ignorance is pride. False pride, being puffed up, just thinking one's better than others. And in this age, the Vedas say this is the most fallen, the most ignorant age. You only live 100 years. You have no memory. You have no profound intelligence, always arguing and quarreling, very lazy, very easily disturbed, very easily misled, and yet you think you're the topmost. You're the pinnacle of evolution. But this age of Kali Yuga, which is very ignorant, is very affected by a planet called Rahu. And Rahu is also, among many other things, he's very connected with mass communication and technology. So we have this we live in a world where there's, so, like you said, so much information, but we have absolutely no way of being able to actually absorb and integrate it. It's just confusing. And you find out one thing and then something else. You have no idea where the information is coming from. I mean, most people's beliefs are completely formed on the basis of who they've listened to. Whether it's your conditioning at school, your parents, your religious group, the media. And now people, they feel, but I do my own research because I get online and I go to this podcast and I go, hello, do you know these guys? Where are they getting their information from? Everybody is so sure of what they believe, but why do you believe it? This is a very bewildered, very confused age and very quarrelsome age. And you'll see how people with different beliefs are quarreling. Rahu, yes.
I was just going to mention the avijnanamaya kosha, the layer of believing that you know, but you actually have false knowledge. So it's a lot of people are caught in this right now. So that's why I really I thought, who better than to bring Nara on to bring light to this very misunderstood cosmic event. And it keeps getting more and more popular, specifically like the solar and lunar eclipses are so popular, and all this media around it, right? Like the photography, and again, like people making
Special trips.
Very special trips.
Yes.
Very special
So that's why I mentioned, welcome aliens. So,
Yeah.
and I've now mentioned Rahu. I slipped Rahu in, and he's very important in the eclipse. So now let's talk specifically about what an eclipse is. So, yeah, I know it's the pattern of the moon and the earth and the sun. Forget that, all right? Just suspend all that thinking. According to the Vedic teachings, first of all, the sun and the moon are the two life givers. They give light. The sun is giving that light. It's so empowering everything, the energy of the sun, the heat. But the moon is giving another kind of life that's giving life to all the plants, all the herbs, everything. We're completely dependent on these two luminaries, these two celestials. In astrology, these are the most important planets, the sun and the moon. So now a little story, a Vedic story. Once upon a time, and one thing that's very baffling for people with Vedic teachings is, well, we have to say, this happened then. It began that, oh, Shiva appeared then. Brahma appeared then. This isn't actually true. Time is eternal, and these personalities like Lord Shiva, etc., are eternal. Krishna is eternal. Rama is eternal. But when they come into the material world, there's a particular moment in our temporal reality, because the material world is all about beginnings and endings, you know, past, present, and future. We don't actually have a present. We only have a past and future. The present is so fleeting, we can't grasp it. In the very moment of grasping, it's already moved. Try to grasp something in the river. You can't. You just can't do it. So material nature is defined, one of the definitions, it's in the grip of material time, where there's only a past and a future. Whereas the spiritual world, spiritual nature, that is eternal, and it's the eternal present. And we can't even fathom what that means. Well, wait a minute, don't things happen and then change? Well, that means they're the past and it's coming in the future. You can't understand this. You're conditioned by material time. You're the cave dweller in Plato's story. You cannot anticipate what the sun is, what it is that everything's lit up. You have absolutely no possibility to do that. You cannot begin to understand spiritual nature, spiritual truth, and your material logic will fall flat. So, all these events and personalities, they're happening over and over and over again. It's kind of like when the elevator goes up and you come out of the elevator and a little child says, "Oh, you just came out of the lift. You came from the lift. Is anybody else in there?" "No." "Okay." "No, I didn't come from the lift. I came through the lift. I was, down the street in another country, got a plane, and now I've come up in the lift." So we're just seeing people exiting the lift, the elevator. That's all. Where they come from is something else altogether. So these stories, the Vedic stories, are apparently set in time, but they're timeless. So it's not that suddenly eclipses began from the moment I'm going to tell you about, but this is the way that the whole thing enters this world, and it enters, so it's always there. Just like, as a more spiritual example, Lord Ram, when he was present, the Ramayana had already been written by Valmiki. He'd already taught Lord Rama's children, who didn't know Ram was their father because they were raised in Valmiki's ashram by Sita was there with her children, with Lava and Kusha. Vishishta Muni's ashram, but Valmiki is the writer of Ramayana. Anyway, and they're reciting Ramayana to Lord Ram. It was known before he came. So this is too confusing materially. So in the same way, here is the Puranic story of the eclipse. So at one point, the all the higher beings, and there are two classes, demon or asura and demigod or deva. They are materially bad and materially good. The devas misunderstood. They're thought to be gods, like all the different devas are symbols of the one God. They're not at all. They're the universal managers and administrators. They're very, very powerful. The sun and the moon are at the top of them. Jupiter or Brihaspati, the guru of the demigods. Mars, Mercury, Venus. Venus is the guru of the demons, Shukracharya. Anyway, they are the most powerful beings in the universe for light and for dark. It's material. But anyway, they're opposite, and they're always fighting. But they came to understand that the ocean if it is churned, we will be able to produce a pot of nectar. Nectar in Sanskrit is amrit. Amrit literally means mrit, death. Nectar means immortality. Materially, it means as long as the universe, but not beyond that. But that's materially, that's immortal. That's billions and trillions of years, not bad. And it may even be shorter than that. It's a relative term, immortality, in material language. So, the demons and the demigods took two sides, and using the great serpent Vasuki as a rope, and using Mount Meru as like a churning rod, and they had nothing to put their churning rod on, so they implored Vishnu, who plays a very big role in this story. He incarnates first of all as Kurma. Kurma is the tortoise. And Kurma agreed, yes, I will come, because actually I have an itch. So this is very convenient. I will sit there. You can place the mountain on my back, this mountain that's the center of the universe. And you move it like this by churning. It will scratch. This is very nice. You can serve me like this. So the demons and the demigods, they're churning. And there's many, many stories in this one story. One is, first of all, before anything good was produced, an ocean of poison was produced that was going to destroy the whole universe. And the demons and the demigods both were very much afraid. And they prayed to Lord Brahma, and he asked for Lord Shiva to come. And Lord Shiva, will you please, you are the master of the mode of ignorance, so anything ignorant, poison, snakes, scorpions, you can take it. All right, I will take. So Lord Shiva drank this whole ocean of poison. Then he held it in his throat. Why? Because Lord Shiva is the greatest devotee of all. Vaishnavanam yatha Shambhu. Krishna is in his heart. And he did not want to swallow, because then this poison would go past his worshipful Lord. He didn't want to create any discomfort, inconvenience. So he kept it in his throat. And from the poison, his throat turns blue. And this is why Lord Shiva, one of his names is Nilkant. Nilkant, blue throat. So that's going on. Then other things are born of the ocean that are very positive. A very special horse appears. And finally, the pot of nectar appears. And immediately the demigods and the demons are getting ready to fight. So another incarnation of Vishnu appears. This is his incarnation as a lady, a Mohini Murti. Her beauty is beyond conception. She is the form of the Supreme Lord who possesses unlimited beauty. And this is him appearing as unlimited beauty. And immediately the demons are, especially the demigods, they have a worshipful attitude. Even though they're so attracted, they know this is my worshipful Lord. But the demons, they're demons because their mood is they simply want to exploit and enjoy everything. That's the meaning of demonic.
Want to consume it.
Huh?
They would want to consume it.
Yes, they want to consume. So demons mean exploit. objectifiers. Everything's an object. I'm the supreme subject. Everything's for me. This is the demonic mentality. It's not horns, and that's also there. There are plenty of those. But in the most basic sense, demigod, devotional mood is, there is a supreme God. Everything is his. Let me serve him. Let me begin the path of understanding and discipline to serve him. This is the divine mood, the devotional mood. Demonic mood, oh, there is this whole creation. How can I enjoy it? Oh, this is an enemy. Let me kill him. This is somebody I should seduce, etc. This is their only mood. So Mohini Murti came, and immediately the demons are like, oh, beautiful lady, what would you like? How can we serve you? Well,
we're going to get to the eclipse, right?
Right. This is this point.
Okay.
This is the very point. I would like that I hold the pot of nectar so that you boys don't fight over it. Then I promise you will get it. And the demons immediately, they give to her. Oh, my watch, I haven't figured out why it does it and how to start. It beeps once every hour.
Okay.
So the demons are all in complete agreement, but there's one demon who's thinking, I don't know. I think she's Vishnu. Vishnu always sides with the demigods. I don't trust. Huh. And this one demon disguised himself as a demigod. And he went and sat among the demigods between the sun and the moon. And then Murti, while she's got all the demons totally entranced, they're just looking at her, she hands the pot of nectar to the demigods, and they drink. And then this one demon gets the pot of nectar, and just as he's put it to his lips, the sun and the moon together realize, he's a fake. He's a demon. He is not a devotee. He is not a deva. And immediately Mohini Murti, who's Vishnu, she calls her weapon, Sudarshan Chakra, cuts the demon's head off. But he has just taken one drop of nectar and swallowed it. So now his body is immortal. So now there's an immortal head and there's an immortal body. And this is Rahu and Ketu. And Rahu and Ketu, especially Rahu, are the eternal enemies of the sun and the moon. And the eclipse is, and there's all kinds of astrological explanations and calculations as to how and why it happens at specific times. The eclipse is Rahu, the eternal head of this demon, coming to swallow the sun.
Oh, wow.
And because he has no anything here, swallows, it comes out through the other end. So in astrology, Rahu also represents insatiable desire. Because it doesn't matter how much you eat, it's not enough. And so with the communication, the information, there's never enough. There's more and more and more information, more and more and more technology. But can you consume this information? Can you do anything with it? No, just get confused. It's too much. It's too much. So Rahu is the eclipsing factor. He is illusion, and his body is like smoke. So smoke, you can't really see its form, but at the same time, it obscures whatever it's in front of. So Rahu is a subtle being, a subtle planet. Ketu is also a subtle planet. I'm not going to talk about Ketu now, just Rahu. So Rahu is a demon. Rahu is demonic energy. And when he comes to swallow the sun, to obscure the sun and the moon, that energy is a completely malefic energy. He wants to completely kill the sun and the moon, the life givers. And his energy, what happens at the eclipse is his energy completely covers the energy of the sun and the energy of the moon and completely contaminates it. And in Vedic teaching, the most inauspicious day of the year are the eclipses.
Inauspicious days.
Inauspicious. The eclipse means the pure light of the sun and the moon is being contaminated. The light that you're seeing, that is not the sun or moonlight. This is the light coming through. So imagine if you got water, instead of a pure water filter, you've got a water filter that's got, snake venom and, urine and whatever you want to imagine there.
Heavy
the
metals.
Water's passing through it and it's getting contaminated by those things. You don't want that water.
You don't want that water.
You don't want the light that's coming through Rahu.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got no choice because all the light is. So the Vedas instruct, if possible, do not travel because you don't want to expose. If you're under a full eclipse, especially, do not let that light touch you directly. Keep all the curtains, whatever, shut. Stay indoors. Do not let that light touch you. Any food that's been out, throw it away.
Mm-hmm.
Don't cook during the eclipse. Fast during the eclipse. Chant, meditate, focus, connect with higher energies, spiritual energies during the eclipse to protect your consciousness from this very inauspicious energy. Even a partial, if the eclipse is visible, even partially this last eclipse was not visible here. This last eclipse was not visible either in the holy places in India. When an eclipse passes over a holy place, the temples close, they don't do the worship, etc. But when the eclipse isn't visible there, everything is normal.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are in the path of the eclipse, stay indoors. Don't get a plane ticket and go to where the eclipse. This is really, from an astrological and a Vedic perspective, this is the dumbest thing you can do. You're inviting the influence of the most malefic, negative, inauspicious energies in the whole cosmos directly into your being. Very, very bad. That's the eclipse.
And out here in the West, we get our whole family outside. We get the lawn chairs out. We have these
special glasses,
the special glasses to be able to see it. And it's just made into this whole tourist attraction. It's really interesting how that was all lost on us culturally.
Very good. Because we are, in our current consciousness, we are the servants of our senses.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen in Bhagavad Gita Krishna with his chariot. So there is a symbolism also where the horses, 5 horses, not Krishna's chariot, but it is a symbolism of a chariot. The 5 horses pulling the chariot, they are the senses. The chariot is the mind. The reins are the intelligence. And the soul is meant to be the driver.
Mm-hmm.
In a conscious life, yoga, the soul has control over the intelligence, who is guiding the horses, keeping them under control, and the mind also is keeping them under control. Everything is under control so that the soul can achieve its own destination.
Mm-hmm.
The passenger, what is the destination? Spiritual enlightenment, freedom from identifying with matter. That doesn't mean ignoring matter, just like it means seeing things as they are and knowing how to use them. So there are some people, they are car collectors, and their life is spent cleaning and waxing, polishing, and serving the car. This is not what a car is for. So you can take care of the car.
Mm-hmm.
You make sure it's properly taken care of. You give it gas, you got oil change, brakes, everything. We're not saying you deny the car, but the car is for you. You are not for the car. The mind and the body are for you. You are not for them. The senses, right? So the senses are not, we live normally. Oh, that smells, wow, I must go. Oh, that looks so
chocolate
tasty.
Chip cookies.
Right. Oh my God, yeah,
That's my
chocolate
thing.
cookies.
Yeah.
I know it's 24 grams of cookie sugar per cookie, but it's Sunday. Whatever. We are serving our senses. As soon as our senses are stimulated, we look. And we don't think why we like what we like.
Mm-hmm.
You don't
it's
think.
unconscious.
We don't think. Why do you like classical music? Why do you like heavy metal? Why do you like women? Why do you like men? Why do you like blondes? Why do you like them, big or small or tall or short? No, we don't think, I like it. There's no intelligence involved at all. There's no discrimination at all. Well, she's had 53 husbands already and they all died and they were all wealthy. Maybe I shouldn't be number 54. No, it's like, oh my God, did you see that incredible rack that those doctors in LA gave her? Whatever. Our senses, boom. Our intelligence is gone. I know that's a pretty crude example.
Very specific.
But it makes life easy. Everybody can identify. It's real simple. But at the same time, if you see a big, fertile female pig, unless you're a very unusual person, you're not going to go,
Hey y'all, Sasha here for a quick pause. One of the biggest misconceptions about Ayurveda is that there are universal answers. There aren't. The core principles are universal, yet two people can struggle with the exact same symptom and need completely different recommendations based on their constitution, lifestyle, and current state of balance. That's why personalized guidance can be so valuable. If you've been enjoying the podcast and want support applying these teachings to your own life, I offer a 30-minute Ayurvedic strategy session where we can explore your unique situation and discuss what working together might look like. You'll find the booking link in the show notes. Now, let's get back to the episode.
Oh.
Let's reel it in.
Well, no, I am. There's a reason. I'm
okay.
bringing us to the point. But the male pig, so we don't even realize that these senses that we're running to serve, they're not ours. They just relate to the body. According to the body you get, you'll have totally different desires.
Mm-hmm.
This is material.
And I want to bring it to the chart because, of course, the sun and the moon will be in a different house, in a different sign, aspected by different planets, which have different qualities, different elements, and personalities.
Yes.
So all of us are going to be drawn to things.
Yes.
And when we go to the Vedas and we are actually curious enough to explore why it is we like what we like, where do we go? We go to the sun and moon. Okay, where is it? Is it with anything else? What's the Mahadasha? Who's really driving? Which planet, which celestial body is really driving you right now? Because if we take a survey of everyone during the eclipse, not everyone's going to struggle, but some people are going to really struggle.
For sure. Well, now you're getting into this distinction amongst human beings.
Yes.
And before we do that, it's good to get the basic distinction that you're not the body.
Mm-hmm.
And that what we're attracted to is driven by our identification with the particular body we've got. So if you've got a pig body, you're attracted to the objects of a pig senses. If you've got a human body, you're attracted to human things. But like you're mentioning, within it, there's this huge spectrum. Well, you like jazz, you like classical, you don't even like music. You like to work hard, you don't like to work, you're an intellectual, that's all there. But in order to look at that properly, you have to understand the purpose of astrology. Mm-hmm. The real purpose of astrology isn't to indulge the senses, isn't to help people get the best, most comfortable, happy life they can get. It's to get a life, get astrology, get a life. No, I'm just thinking that'd be an interesting shirt. No, you get a life that is dedicated to the purpose of life that is controlling the senses. That's a big part. And to do that, in order to gain power in any situation, you have to know what the situation is, what you're dealing with exactly.
And that's what Jyotish is. It gives
gives you
the perspective.
It gives you the perspective. I know you've heard the idea. For instance, there's something called victim consciousness, right? Mm-hmm. Where people, their perspective is absolutely, this is not my life. It's being done to me.
Right. This happened to me.
This happened to me. There are other ways of seeing things where you actually get, this is my life, and I can actually change the way I respond to it. You can do all kinds of things to understand why things are happening to you, and ultimately, Jyotish, astrology teaches this because it says this isn't your first life and you're getting all the reactions of your previous lives. So with Jyotish, what you do is you get this objective picture of all the stuff you've got. Until you see what you've got and you own it, that stuff's still there, but the dynamics, the opposite. That stuff has you. We are all living in automatic response to the stuff within us that we haven't owned. Mm-hmm. Ownership, objectivity, distance gives you power over all that's influencing your life. Right. So you move from a place, instead of being at unconscious effect of all these far out influences in your life, you start to become aware of what these influences are, and you are able to not so much control the influence itself, but control your response to it. Mm-hmm. And this is ultimately what Jyotish is offering. It's offering this opportunity to see what the influences are in your life, to give you a distance between you and the influences, rather than being immediately acting and speaking and going after whatever the impulse is. Mm-hmm. When you realize this impulse isn't actually mine, it's coming from this planet at this time. And this is what Jyotish shows. And people who are skeptical of astrology, I know I'm a Taurus.
I think that's fading. That's fading.
That's what?
People are actually beginning to really accept astrology as a science,
good.
Which I'm...
Good.
Thank God. Thank God.
Yeah.
Because we really sure could use some more conscious life choices in general. People that are conducting themselves in a way that has more space between, the act.
There are people going this way. There's like a division going on.
There's a division for sure.
There really is. Those who are pulled towards the demonic, towards the ignorance, illusion, always that way. And that's definitely going on.
I wanted to ask the difference between a solar eclipse and a lunar eclipse. Is it still Rahu that's eclipsing both, or is it Ketu?
Yeah.
Okay.
So in terms of the effect, so let's say an eclipse lasts for a few hours. Mm-hmm. So however long, and again, always the full eclipse, this is more the point. As partial it is, then the effect is less and less. So we'll just say from the point of view of a full eclipse. A solar eclipse lasts X number of hours. The manifestation, the impact, the strongest impact of the energies of that eclipse, which can all be understood, then you get into astrology. What sign is it taking place in? What are the other planets that are involved? I mean, this last eclipse.
There's nuances.
oh my God, in this last eclipse on the same day,
It was in Ashleisha, right?
you had 6 planets in a line there. This was hugely malefic between Saturn at one end and Ketu at the other end. 2 of the biggest, the malefic houses, planets, Rahu, Ketu, Saturn, Mars. The sun is a malefic only because if you get too close, you get burned. He's the life giver, but he's also considered a malefic because if you get too close, you get combust. So combust planets, you've got all that. But anyway, so when all these good, Jupiter and Mercury were hemmed in by Saturn and Ketu, this is really, really bad. It's like you've got these really good guys and you've got 2 really big, heavy bad guys stopping them. They can't get out. They can't help you. Plus, Jupiter and Mercury went into a planetary war that further completely, that's when they're within 1 degree of each other, that really minimizes their potency. So anyway, as many hours the solar eclipse, as many years the manifestation of that eclipse. And, in Jyotish, you look at the eclipse, you look at exactly where it took place, and you understand which elements agitated did it take place in a fire sign or an earth or water or an air or whatever. And you can begin to understand what it's dealing with. And the sun is automatically dealing with government, leadership, authority, politics. The moon is automatically dealing with the mind, the intelligence,
mother,
emotions,
mother,
relationships. Yeah, so there's all these. But the first thing is the sun, the influence, if it's a 3.5 hour eclipse, 3.5 years. The moon, months. Because the sun, there's a year.
It's a soul, yeah.
And the moon is a month, lunar month. So, but that doesn't mean that the effects don't continue past. So what we're looking at right now, you can look at the last couple of solar eclipses and the lunar eclipse from earlier this year, then you can begin to understand, for example, the unbelievable weather events right now. I mean, even now we're hearing earthquakes, volcanic. I mean, one of the areas that was directly under this recent eclipse, Greenland and Iceland, and northern Spain, by the way. But Greenland and Iceland? Wow, well, you're not going to get fires there, are you? Probably not. Greenland's mostly ice, the names are inverted. But, very volcanic areas. So there could be, that could be in the works. Spain, poor Spain, it's already so much besieged by these fires. And now this other eclipse has just come. This is going to be, the next couple of years are going to be really, really huge disturbance. Like the weather is just building up. It's not going to drop down again. It's increasing.
And we have a lunar eclipse coming up because a solar is always followed by a lunar, correct?
Yes.
It's always solar first, and then a few weeks later, there's the lunar eclipse.
Yes.
So what are the differences between the solar and the lunar eclipses?
Well, it very much depends, where they are, because they're coming in completely different signs. But especially, you can consider the solar eclipse as a lot of attention on political relationships, government, intrigue. I mean, just think about what the sun does, how it illuminates things come to light. I mean, there's some good things also in the eclipse, like there's going to be a lot of truth that's going to come out. Oh, this was even the last couple of eclipses were indicating that there's going to be a lot of disabusing of people's ludicrous beliefs is going to happen. There's going to be a lot of revelation of such unbelievable cheating in places of power, such unbelievable lies, corruption, and blatant. I mean, we're in I don't want to get political, but we're in very, very dangerous, difficult times right now. There is a huge process of, to put it in a nutshell, the demonic elite have always used the wonderful tech strategy of divide and rule, always. And we're always at the end of it. So there's the leftists and there's the rightists, right? You know, and there's the Jews and Zionists and the Muslims, and there's so much wrong with all, but they're both being manipulated to create absolutely atrocious environments.
I think that's a really good point you're bringing up. Both sides are being manipulated.
Oh, both sides.
So that's
both sides.
That's really, I hope listeners out there understand that this is not something that we can really, it's not something we can stop, but we can choose, again, how we respond, knowing what's at stake and what are the motives behind the manipulation and how to use our critical thinking skills to be able to discern what is real and what is true versus what is false and illusory. And when these eclipses happen, I think from an Ayurvedic doctor perspective, I can say that, like, I know around this time with the, so solar sun is ruled by the fire element, right? Moon is ruled by water element. So how this shows up in the body is really interesting to me. We're going to see more inflammation, pitta aggravation during the solar eclipse, and then lunar eclipse, more of the mind and difficulty sleeping and very vivid nightmares and just disturbed mental health. And so I think it's important for people to understand that the implications when these cosmic events are happening, yes, it's affecting our weather, it's affecting our politics, it's affecting our but it's also affecting our mind and body. Like really bringing it into a personal, in the most personal, intimate way possible. We need to understand how this is affecting our health. And because our ability to show up in the world in a conscious, healing way is going to depend on how we think and what we believe and how we see and how we treat ourselves and how we treat one another. And that in many ways is the greatest way to mitigate the negative effects or the inauspicious effects of the eclipses. To my understanding, it's like, yes, it's good to have knowledge, but even more important than having right knowledge, even more important is how you practice, how you respond to, okay, we're going to give you this knowledge on this podcast, but what we really want you to do with this knowledge is to look at, okay, like, what can I do practical, in a practical sense in my life to reduce the internal volcanoes and the internal earthquakes and the internal tornadoes, right? And the internal eclipses.
I love the question. If you're asking, what can you do for this?
Yes, what can we do?
Well, now I have to go right into the spiritual point, because that's ultimately what the point is. So trying to bring it in a very condensed way. What are we doing here? How did we get here? So the Vedic teaching in a nutshell is everything that exists is part of God. Everything exists to give him pleasure. And we, unlike the material energy, which is unconscious, we're conscious. We have a choice. So we can choose to love or not. So this world is the place that all those souls that made the choice, I don't want to serve God. I actually don't want to make him the center. I want to see what's in it for me. I want to do my thing. So in the material world, we're all doing our thing. We're all wrapped up. You mentioned the Vijnana Maya Kosha. We're wrapped up by these 5 Maya Koshas, or Kosha, sheath, Maya, material energy, layers. Right? Anamaya Kosha, food, Manamaya Kosha, mind, Pranamaya Kosha.
Layers of our being.
The layers of the material energy, around our being.
Around our being. Core essence, which
around our core
bliss.
Essence, which is the soul. So we are separated by these koshas from everything and everyone. And because our fundamental nature is love, we want to love, we want to be in love, we want to be loved, we want to experience the love, the giving, etc. But in the material world, you can't do. You can't actually connect with anybody really because there's this covering around. And we're sitting inside, and the only being that we're really conscious as, you could say experientially conscious of, is me. Everyone else is an object that I'm experiencing. Like, I know my reactions to being with you. You know your reactions, but you can't feel me. I can't feel you. Finally, we're all alone up here. We're all alone. This is the material condition. So we've been placed here to experience the consequence of our choice not to love God, which we have to be able to make, because if you can't choose not to love, you can't choose to love either. This world is created to encourage us to realize there's something missing. There's always something missing. It doesn't matter how much I get. I've done it all. But listen, the older you get, the more you'll realize I've done this and it just didn't pay off. It didn't give me what I wanted. So the material world is an encouragement to seek spiritual realization, which ultimately means to re-enter the presence of God, to experience our natural, loving relationship with Him, which includes all others, because everything's part of God. When you love God, you love all. And without loving God, we're trapped. We can't, there's nothing we can do. So the real question is, okay, how do I wake up my God consciousness? How do I love God? How do I do this? So to wake up our God consciousness, God has made it very easy. He appears in the form of His own name. And He gives His name through His different gurus, different times and places. You chant this name. You just give your attention to me. I will do everything else. So in the original essential Vedic school, the name Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. By chanting this with attention, meditation, every day for a good amount of time. The more you do it, the more you want to do it. But you start, then your God consciousness naturally begins to awaken inside you. Whenever it's distressing, chant, and you'll experience relief. You'll experience rising above. The problems are all there, but instead of being in the middle of them, you're observing from further and further
just like meditation
away. Well, it is meditation, but what is the object of meditation? This is the point. So unless we're meditating on God, we cannot achieve a spiritual state. And the meditation is very, very limited. We'll be able to get a little bit of distance from the problems, but it doesn't take much, and we're right back in the middle of it again. So real meditation is to meditate on my identity as a servant of God, which is given by God.
And you know what's really beautiful is I think that in the modern world, there are many ways to practice meditation, many paths to God. And what I have found is the more that I have found living in alignment with my dharma, the more I find that my daily life is all out of devotion to God. So it's less about needing to carve out the time in my day. This is just me speaking into my own personal life. And I also love chanting, and I also love meditation, and I also love breath work, and all of it. I'm a total servant of the Vedas, and I love it all. And I'm so thankful. I'm so grateful that even on my worst day, my life is still a mantra. because everything that I'm focused on in my day-to-day is serving the divine will with my life, which is offering this knowledge to people from all walks of life, everyone has a different, we all have Saturn, K2, Rahu, right? We all have it. We all have the asuras influencing us. We're not, no matter how much chanting, no matter how devoted we are still going to be influenced. And so I love that I can rely on the dharmic choice that I've made personally to carry me through, even when my spiritual practice isn't perfect. I can rest well every night knowing I've moved the needle. I am doing what God wants me to do. I am being who God wants me to be. This is my way in this lifetime, at least. This incarnation was to do this. So even if it's just this, I've succeeded, right? And it doesn't need to be or look exactly the way that I want, because I know that, and this is the gift that Jyotish has given me. And Ayurveda, right? And Sanskrit and Bhakti and all of it, going to India, all of it gives us, and at different times of our lives, when different planets are being activated, we will experience the same thing differently, because we'll be different versions of ourselves. There will be different parts of ourselves that will be more open to seeing things through that light. So now I'm in Venus, right? But for 7 years before my Venus, I was in K2. And
very different.
K2 was a totally different life, Nara. Like, can't tell you between K2 and Venus, major change. I gave all the material away during K2. I left it all. No problem. It was hard, sure, but it was a no-brainer. It was so obvious that that's what I needed at that time, was to leave everything, go back to studying, go back to being a humble student, and kneel before the divine and accept the mission that I was given and say, thank you. I will carry this torch for however long. I don't even know where I am in this desert of life, of existence, but you've given me something. You've given me a mission. And because I love you, I will not even ask. I mean, sure, I asked many questions, but despite not getting all the answers up front, it required faith, right? Which is one of those key ingredients on the spiritual path. Yes. So much of the spiritual path is accepting what we don't know and accepting that we will never know, at least in this dimension of reality. We can't even begin to grasp so much of what this is. And yet, out of love, we accept, and we will continue for as many miles in this desert. I often, during my K2, 7 years of K2, I was just like, well, even if I don't, quote unquote, make it, if I somehow perish along this path of devotion, I will have succeeded. There is no failure once you accept that part. There is no failure. As long as you show up in the arena and you give it all you got, you won. That's the whole point of this, is to go from the ego's insatiable greed and desire to have and to possess and consume. As soon as you really overcome that and get to a place where you realize you will always be exactly, you'll be given everything you need. You may not get everything you want, but as far as the soul, if you're living in alignment, that is your prayer. That is your mantra. That is your devotion. You turn your life into a living.
This is
prayer.
Yes and no, because there are many people who are very committed to what they're doing. It's a good thing, but they're completely atheistic.
Oh, well.
So there's a mixture. Mm-hmm. So you're one of those fortunate persons who's very clear what your dharma is. And dharma is the foundation. It's like the backbone that allows for spiritual life. But dharma in and of itself doesn't necessarily mean there's spiritual life.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have that spiritual awareness as well. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells one thing. He says, so Arjuna, be my devotee, love me, give yourself totally to me. So there are some very few personalities that appear in this world that are on that level. They are completely absorbed in the presence of God. Really absorbed, seeing him, talking with him, serving, playing. The material things, there's nothing for them to do. They're not there at all. Very, very rare. And then Krishna says, but if you can't do that, then follow the rules of devotional service. Take up a sadhana under Guru where you're practicing spiritual disciplines to focus the mind directly on me, on my personality, on my name, on my person, on what I do, on my qualities. Become conscious of me. Because spiritual life isn't about becoming conscious of this world, but a spiritualist may be more conscious. My Guru Prabhupada was more conscious of this world than anybody. And yet he was completely transcendental. Whereas others, completely no idea what's going on at all. But they're also totally different moods, different flavors. So Krishna said, but Arjuna, if you can't do that, if the spiritual discipline is too hard, then do your duty and give the results to me.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. The fruits.
Nishkam Karma Yoga.
Mm-hmm.
So as an example, somebody's working very hard. They're making a lot of money, but they're not building a nice house, getting cars, holidays. They're finding gurus and spiritual centers. Please take all this money and use directly and serving God directly. If you can't do that, then don't be selfish. Then take the results of your activities to help others.
Which could also involve giving people jobs, right?
Yes.
You're offering them livelihood. So by building a business, I think it is actually a very spiritual thing to enable other people to be able to feed themselves. There's something incredibly loving about that.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful
this
Jupiter.
Is Dharma. This is Dharma. And not behaving like this is adharma. Mm-hmm. It's against Dharma. To be selfish and greedy and not help.
And not think about how can I, with all these resources, how can I now lift others? How can I share it? How can I exalt
and add
the
to
fruits?
that the spiritual discipline.
Mm-hmm.
So bhakti must be there as well. Even if I only have, because I'm so busy, I'm 5 minutes chanting the name of God is not like doing anything of this world. Mm-hmm. In each life, you have a different dharma. Mm-hmm. This life, you're a doctor, Ayurvedic doctor, and you have a very definite talent and commitment. So this is not a first life thing. You've been doing this for a while, but you go back far enough. Oh, you've done so many things. You may have been a king, a warrior, a priest, a carpenter, a musician. So these are all just different things you do. But what's imperative is to get at the base of our consciousness, to get the awareness of our connection with that transcendental person, God. And that is through chanting the names. So there are many different religions, but they all, in Judaism, I can't remember what it's called when they chant, in Islam, it's zikr. In Judaism, what's it called when they chant the names on the beads and they chant is another word. In Christianity, whoever calls on the name of the Lord shall be saved. So they have the Jesus in different, the monks meditating in Russia, always meditating on the beads. So all the different religions, they're doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. There are cultural differences, and because the ego is there, they fight. We're the right ones, you're the wrong ones. That goes on. But the essential spiritual practice is the same everywhere. Remember God. Think of God. Love God. Yeah. And that's about God. That's not about the things that we do here. That's bhakti.
Yeah.
So take some time.
What can we say to those who have a lot of trauma around religion and would say, no, really,
I'm thinking,
it's important.
I hear you. I went through it.
The dog, just like the conditioning and the programming. And then, okay, now I have these rules again because like it has, like most things in the Kali Yuga, even the path to God, many times for many people has
Rahu.
been, Rahu has
Illusion.
Contaminated it.
Yes.
And really given people a very bad taste around, okay, even the word God can be triggering for a lot of people. So sometimes I just use the word the divine, and that tends to land easier for people. But truly, I think to be a great teacher, obviously is to be a great student, number one. But number two is answering the need of the hour. We're alive now in the year, this is going to date this podcast specifically, but that's all right. We need to give context to when this conversation is happening. We're in the year 2026. We have to respond to the need of the hour. We have this knowledge, which is one form of wealth, one form of Lakshmi. And to honor Lakshmi is to share, is to be generous with the knowledge. And that's what this podcast is for, by the way, the Sankalpa. So to do that effectively and allow this to land in a way that people are going to want to do the chanting.
Sure. And it's a great question. So how to open people's minds and hearts to something which the appearance of that thing has created trauma in their lives.
Yes.
And I think many of us can relate to this. Growing up, I was very affected by, and I'm very affected today, by hearing about the absolute atrocities and cruelties performed in the name of religion. Just like what's going on in Iran right now, it's unbelievable how they're mistreating their own people, especially the young women. I'm not going to say here what they're doing. It's too dreadful in the name of religion. So we have to be intelligent to distinguish between what something is and what's being done in its name.
Yeah.
You have to be intelligent to distinguish between a fake $100 bill and a real one. If you get a fake $100 bill, and you've just worked 20 hours to get that, and then you go off to spend it, and you've been thinking about all the things you can get with it, and as soon as you offer it, wait a minute, this is a fake. I'm reporting you to the police. It's like, do you develop the attitude, money is terrible. Money has caused, I worked for money, but I can't buy anything with money. It got me in prison. No, that's counterfeit money. What's real money? What is real money? So there's that. That's one thing. Another thing is, yes, people are traumatized we're all traumatized by different things. It's our karma. But at core, we are spiritual beings. Whether you're an atheist, it doesn't matter what you are. At core, you are a spiritual being. Meaning, in a non-religious way, for example, you are however old you are. You've not always been this age. You were a 1-week-old baby. You will be, God willing, one day a 70, 80-year-old crone, source of wisdom for the tribe. Yes? Body's always changing. The experiences of the body changing. Mind is always changing. Scientists tell us, we believe it, we have 60,000 thoughts a day. I think that's just men. Women, they couldn't calculate the big enough number. But not just playing. Emotions?
I think we're more in our emotions.
Yes.
Men are more in their mind. Women are more in their feelings.
Yes.
But...
And emotions change every moment.
Yes.
I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm angry, I'm disturbed. I'm so happy to see you. You're such an idiot. Go away. I want to marry you, live with you forever. I don't want to see you again. Blah, blah.
Right.
So everything that we're aware of, this is for atheists, for religious, doesn't matter who you are. This is a fact. Everything you are aware of is in a constant state of flux. Your mind and body are in a constant state of flux. Your identity in the world is in a constant state of flux. I'm just a little boy. I'm mommy's little boy. I'm going to school now. Yeah, I'm a teenager now. Yeah, no, we don't really have parents except when we have to. Yeah, don't pick me up in the parking lot. They'll see. No, I want to. Yeah, I'm like at college now, man. I can go to bed. I can get whenever I like, do it. Oh, man, now I got a job. I got to really work. Wow, now I'm the boss. I've learned I'm the boss. Now I'm retired. Wow, great. Now I'm single. Now I'm married. Now I'm divorced. Now I'm a parent. Now I'm a grandparent. Hear the language. I am as an existential fact. We are not these changing environmental conditions. The constant fact is I. I is a constant. We're using this am linking to I what is actually not me, what is not constant, what is ever changing. Spiritual means the unchanging point of individual being. That gives you your memories, your experiences now, your hopes in the future, allows you to complete a sentence because it's the same you at the beginning, at the end. Sure, it's the same mind, but that doesn't matter because the mind's always changing. You are the same essential being you've always been, and you're not the body. If, God forbid, you were to die and I called your mom, come and get her. Why are you crying? She's right there. You're going to take her off with you, put her in the back of the car. No, that's just her body. My baby's gone. Right. You are a soul. So everybody, whether they're atheist, traumatized, or whatever, if they are willing to be present to the gift of their own life and to be thoughtful about what's going on and to be aware, oh my God, I have suffered so much. All around me, beings are suffering. That is the place when you're aware of your suffering and the suffering of others, when compassion for yourself and others grows. And that is the place where you can become open to let go of all these thoughts and beliefs and prejudices and open your mind and ask. And there are people out there who've asked these questions and they've gone further on that path than you. And they can give answers to you right where you are. Don't immediately shut your mind. So I don't want to hear, you believe in God or whatever. Then you're just going to force yourself to live in the prison of your own convictions.
It's important on the spiritual path to always stay curious and open-minded and open-hearted.
Yes. But also discriminating.
Absolutely.
To be able to recognize truth when it's spoken and go, wow.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But to think that we've arrived ever is spiritual arrogance.
Yeah.
To think that, now I behold all the answers and I am no longer open to challenging. To stay open is to stay a student, is to stay humble.
Yes.
And is to stay, I feel closer to the divine. So I feel it's important to, and this is something that I teach on the podcast. I teach this with my patients who, in many ways, my patients are also students, because I think that's one of the things that differentiate a Vaidya, an Ayurvedic doctor, from a Western doctor is that today, for example, I draw a lot in my sessions. I'm not just like, oh, what's going on with your poop and what's going on with your sleep? And yes, these are important. And we do talk about these things and your skin and your hormones and all these things. But I also want people to understand the habits that are getting them sick there's some samskaras. And I need them to understand the depth of what's driving them to continue their suffering so that they have a different perspective. And they will actually, what makes an Ayurvedic doctor skilled is their ability to have their patients comply with the recommendations. If you're not inspiring and motivating your patients to put the coffee down, if that's the thing that's driving the imbalance, to put their phone down at night before they go to bed, because that's what's causing them to not be able to sleep and causing their anxiety. Just two very, very cliche examples, but they're very modern examples of what's causing a lot of these diseases, modern chronic diseases. if you're not able to do that, then you're not a very effective doctor. And if you're not an effective doctor, you might as well choose a different profession.
Yeah.
Right. So like, that's just not, so part of what I do is teach. And I teach that, sure, we are not entirely this body. And however, this body is a temple. It's a sacred temple. This is our car that our soul is in. Definitely. For our whole incarnation. When we enter a sacred site in India, what do? We take our shoes off. We don't enter the temple with our shoes on, right? We also bow. We treat this space. We clean it.
Yeah.
We wash it. We pray in it. And we're quiet. We don't pollute it with noise. We're very intentional when we enter a sanctified space. Now, how do we treat our own body? So I'm bringing Ayurveda into the conversation here, obviously, because that's what I do. This is what Ojas Oasis is for, is without a healthy body, without a healthy vehicle, without the realization of why that's important, we are missing half of the point of this human existence. We entered into a form to fulfill a purpose, but without a form, we can't fulfill it. So to completely negate and just say, we are not this body, who cares about this body and mind? They're going to, whatever, it's going to change a million trillion times anyway. We'll keep changing outfits. No. We still are tasked with treating this part as, this is also the divine. Yes, it's changing. And sure, it's not the end all be all.
Yeah.
And we don't want to, identify entirely with it. However, it's very important that we enable ourselves to see the significance of taking care of ourselves.
100%.
It's so important.
This, like everything else, is his, and it has to be used in his service.
It is so important.
That's why the example of taking care of the car.
Mm-hmm.
You're not the car, but the car has to be taken care of, or it's not going to do the function.
And it's still divine.
Everything is divine in one sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's the energy of God.
Mm-hmm.
How to use it in his God, in the service of God, that is divine.
Mm-hmm.
But just using it for our own material pleasure, that's not divine.
Right.
And we can see we're doing both.
Yes.
We're doing both.
And I can't help but think of the chakras, how it moves up from the most gross to the most subtle. And of course, yes, we want to move the Kundalini up so that we can transcend. Yes. And however, what do we need in order to even do any of these yogic practices? We need a body to be able to sing the name of God.
Yeah, you have to take care of the body. It's very important.
So I think there's a progression of steps, and there's a reason why Ayurveda is part of the team here with the Vedic system. We start with the body, and then we've got the vehicle. Now let's go on the journey.
Yeah.
And I think I also even want to, and it's so funny, we started with the eclipses, and of course now we're going into like living a spiritual life and having a body, and what is that? We can't help ourselves, but because every word that we're saying has so much nuance to it, as we know. Just like this is how the Vedas are. There's just so many. You open one door, you're going to open another 100 doors. That's what I love so much about this system. It's so deep. It's so comprehensive. But yeah, to go back to, I guess, let's just circle back, no pun intended, but circle back to the theme of the hour, or maybe it's like going on 2 hours now. Who knows? Why do we study the Vedas, and why is it important that we have the right knowledge? We want to make the most out of this life that we have. We want to understand, and not just understand, but we want to embody the knowledge as much as we can. And without grasping in its entirety the Vedic system, and it takes lifetimes, like you said. Same to you, by the way. You've been doing this for lifetimes, certainly, right? Like there's no way that you can just become a scholar in one lifetime. You have to be a devoted servant for many lifetimes to be able to, for this language to be resonating to the depth that I know you just read through the books and the scriptures, and you just eat it like, like some people eat candy, but this is like candy for your soul.
Yeah.
You love this knowledge so much. It's so beautiful to see when you get into that flow state and how you're literally channeling all of it. You go into a place where you're like channeling the Vedas. It's so beautiful. But yeah, I really want to bring light and true knowledge around this particular cosmic event, because this is the event that we're literally in right now. We're in between the solar and the lunar eclipse. So this is like literally answering the need of the hour. What do we do in this season, Nara? Like, what are the best practices other than chanting mantra, of course, Hare Krishna? But are there more? Well, you said to not travel, but I know you're traveling.
I don't travel in the eclipse. So.
On the actual day.
Yeah.
Okay, so how can we prepare for the upcoming lunar eclipse?
I mean, honestly, I can't really give any other answer, because it is such a potent material malefic force that there is no material, there's nothing we can do materially to oppose it. All we can do is take shelter of the spiritual energy. And the way to do that is by chanting the names of God. Doesn't matter what religion, they all teach this. One must chant the names of God. One must enter the presence of God. God is just like you and I are people. God is a person, but we don't see him because we long ago kicked him out of our room. He's here, but we can't see him. When you become God conscious, you see him directly. And so the practice of God consciousness, just like we become conscious of anything in this world, we get absorbed in it. Who are you? What do you do? I want to know about you. Da, 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 da. This is God consciousness. I remember when I met Prabhupada, and one Indian gentleman asked, what is meaning of Bhagavad Gita? And Prabhupada just looked, he said, so everybody wants to know who is God, how to come to God. So God is himself coming and speaking. This is who I am. This is how to come to me. This is Bhagavad Gita.
I can't help but I'm going into my practical mind of things that people are looking for when they listen to podcasts. They want to know things like, is this a good time to begin a relationship? I already know the answer, but for real.
I don't know if I'm the one to ask about
beginning relationships.
I mean,
I would avoid that during this time because it's a very...
And like you said earlier about, I can tell you not to drink coffee, or I can tell you, not
but are you going to listen?
And the material influences of your planets and everything are so strong. Unless you have another source of strength, how are you going to resist? It's not possible. And so what we're learning from experience may be, I can't do this. I don't have the strength. Oh my God, I knew I shouldn't have done that. I knew it, and I couldn't stop myself. So maybe the lesson is to open up to the possibility of begging for divine help.
Raise your hand.
You were saying humility.
Yes.
This is where it comes from. When you realize that all your great qualities that you're so proud of and you want others to see, actually they don't save you. All your money, all your beauty, all your working out at the gym, everything. You just got bitten by a little mosquito carrying dengue. And none of that helps. This world is meant to be a place of insurpassable suffering by your own efforts. It's meant to be, to get us on our knees. My dear Lord, I have been so proud. I have been so neglectful. I've been so foolish. Now I realize I'm so helpless. Help me. But how will we ever say that when we feel, I'm so, I'm like, I got it together, man. Look at my car, look at my home, look at my bank account, look at these, look at her, look at me. This is not going to bring you to spiritual life. You have to be humbled. You have to be humbled.
Let yourself be humbled.
Yes.
Surrender.
Well, and if you're lucky, what comes, you don't have to let yourself. You've got no choice. But even saying that, no, it is amazing. People can be beaten into the most unbelievably place of lacking and still be proud.
That's what I say. That's why I said let yourself.
You're right. It's true.
Because you have to accept that you're unable to fight.
Yes.
What is literally happening.
Yes.
To give you the opportunity to surrender and admit, all right, you know what? I don't know.
Yeah.
And I actually
and this
am
doesn't
not
mean being weak. Be very strong in
the acceptance and in the surrender.
Recognize, just see the reality.
Yeah. Some people call it rock bottom, but I actually see the rock bottom. Many people have turned their lives around in such an incredible way. The moment they hit it, they needed to hit it.
Yeah. That was their bottom.
That was their bottom.
It doesn't have to be all the way down. It can be, there's lots of.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you've got that. But one other thing you were mentioning, though, about the not being proud and thinking you're there and you never get there, etc. Well, there's the there that you get to is definitely ever expanding. It's unlimited. But you do go from being wrong to being, or wrongly situated, to being rightly situated. So there is a division between being on the right path and being on the wrong path. But being on the right path, there is no conclusion. God himself is infinite. Even he can never come to the end of his own glories. He's ever expanding. Radha and Krishna are described by seeing each other. Each one takes such delight in seeing the beauty of the other. So Radha, seeing Krishna's beauty, becomes so happy. She becomes so much more beautiful. And Krishna, seeing her beauty ever increasing, is becoming so much happier, ever increasing, ever increasing, ever increasing. This is the nature of spirituality, ever increasing. There is nothing outside of it. There's nothing it's growing into or filling. It's inconceivable, ever increasing.
You know what's interesting, Nora? I can't help but think about how popularized psychedelics have become. I know this could be its own episode, and I don't want to get too far down this rabbit hole.
We could do our own episode on that.
We'll bookmark.
But their material.
I would love to mention this, though, that I think people are really being drawn to psychedelics because they are looking for God. They are seeking God.
When I got into acid.
And it's like a nice little shortcut.
Most people doing psychedelics are not looking for God. I saw
what are they
it
looking
back then for their own gratification. And it can be mystical. It can be liberating. It can be healing traumas. It can be many, many, many things. But if you're looking for God, if there's something about that in you, because I remember when I was doing a lot of acid, back in the day, I remember so many friends. But for me, acid really helped me. It helped just break it all down and tell me this is not the reality and be looking. And I went to India. But most people that I knew back then that did drugs did not turn on to God. So it's not, but it can be, if you've got that part in your heart, it can be a wonderful way that he presents to you and starts breaking down the obstruction, I've already got it figured out.
I do feel sometimes, though, that it takes a very, very wise plant that's been here a very long time to open to actually dissolve the walls that we've built or that the material world has placed in our consciousness, so that at least people can see beyond that veil.
They can see there's something beyond.
There's something beyond. And then.
Yes, they can see that, but.
And then they come back.
There'll be a whole nother.
Right.
And then they come
We
down.
have to come back.
Yes. you can't trick God is not an object that you can trick your way into getting hold of.
Mm-hmm.
God reveals himself to those who give themselves to him. Yeah. You clear your heart of everything except the desire for God. My gurus have always a question, Guruji, how do I see God? How do I? The one saint, he gave the perfect answer that summarized everything. Weep.
Interesting.
Just like a baby calls for the mother. You know, mother has many things to do. She puts the child down, but there's a point that comes where the child is crying with such one-pointed, distressful, I need you. There is nothing else that will work. Mama! And she hears that. Total. That there's nothing else in that child. And at that point, she puts everything else down. And she comes in the same way, Krishna or God. He knows when you've given up that anything else is your shelter. You won't be entertained by anything else. When he is all you want, he hears that. And that love is what attracts him. And then he will reveal himself. No drug, no plant, no exercise, no technique, nothing can reveal God. Only he reveals himself. That's his mercy. And he's purchased only by pure love. And everything else that we look to use to try to get whatever it is we think we want, then we're just going to have to go through that for however long that takes. One lesson after another, here we are, gazillions of lives and universes later, still here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so interesting. I have many friends, as you know.
Yes.
I have many friends all over the world, all walks of life, different cultures, language, religions, economic status, education, age. I love people. I love this opportunity to love people. Yes. That's what I see. I see this incarnation as I get to love people. I get to be here and love people, which is probably the most potent part of my practice that I give, is that love of the Divine Mother comes through. And I think that's, anyway, I could go on a whole tangent on that, but
couldn't we?
I could.
How many weeks is this show?
I know.
Love.
This is why it's so important to encourage people to let them, like you said, weep. And I can't help but think, do people give themselves the space to feel and be? And it's too cluttered.
Yeah.
Our daily lives are cluttered with endless productivity, obsessive amounts of productivity,
and anxiety,
and not enough time, right? Anxiety to survive, instead of architecting your life around the way and the quality in which you're showing up to everything, whether it's cutting up the carrot or pouring your hot water. And these are moments where you can pause and deepen your breath and deepen your awareness and feel the divine in your everyday waking life. I think it's so important not to compartmentalize this practice and actually integrate it into the way that you do, into the way that you breathe, into the way that when someone doesn't do the thing that they said they were going to do and you were depending on them to do it, how do you respond to that? Are you are entitled to all your feelings, but are you compassionate? You can have compassion for your own anger. You can also have compassion for their shortcomings. You can also have faith that what wasn't done had a better appointment and timing, and trust the timing, and everything is unfolding as it's supposed to. Maybe not on your clock, the way that you wanted it to be, but part of the surrender is trusting that all of these parts of our lives that are not under our control. Great example was we had 2:30 scheduled for our podcast. Someone walks in. I have a patient that needs me. What am I supposed to do? Turn them away? No, that we can't do that. In this tradition, we are servants. When people need help, we need to help when we're in a position to help. And you were so graceful and patient, and you didn't really give me any hard time. In fact, you were very loving and kind to my patient when I asked you a question that I thought might be able to help her, knowing what I know about her life in the hour session that I had with her. And you were very gracious to share your knowledge and also share what you didn't know in such a humble way. That to me is divine consciousness embodiment. So it's not just about, yes, like, you know these stories by heart, you've read and you've saturated in the knowledge, but also when it's inconvenient, you practice.
Yeah, you have to integrate it. Otherwise, it's
the
just
integration
conceptual.
Is everything.
This is why the chanting is so important, because it transcends the conceptual.
It's trusting.
But the conceptual is important.
Oh, absolutely. Just like how the body is important for the soul.
Exactly.
It's like literally the foundation.
Yeah.
The foundation for this assignment on earth as a human being. As a soul in a human body, we need to understand the importance of solid earth
together,
beneath our feet.
All together. All together.
Just as we pray for grace, and gratitude, like we say, thank you, God, for giving me this breath. Thank you, God, for gravity that I can walk this earth. Thank you, God, for my feet. Yes. Thank you, God, for, on and on it goes. My teachers, my friends, my support systems. Thank you for technology. We can bring this conversation to people all over this planet.
Yeah.
So it's a beautiful
we can use everything.
Opportunity.
One verse that wraps up much of what you're saying. So Lord Chaitanya is Radha and Krishna together. The meaning, Krishna wanted to appreciate Radha's love for him. He couldn't understand it. So he took on her mood. He combines, and that is Chaitanya, who comes to teach devotion to Krishna. It's much more than that, but that's good enough. And he came 550 years ago. And he... the entire Hare Krishna movement, the Gaudiya Vaishnava movement, began with him. And he gave so many teachings, but he only wrote or composed one 8-verse teaching. And it's very, very, very profound, as one might imagine. But one of the first verses, I think it's the third verse, goes like this. Trinadapi sunichena, taror api sahishnuna, amanina manadena, kirtaniya sadahari. You must be more humble than a blade of grass. Mm-hmm. What does that mean, more humble? Well, when you tread on the grass, when you walk away, it stands back up again. Be more humble than the blade of grass. Humility. Be more tolerant than a tree. Trees, they're giving shade, they're giving wood, they're giving fruit. And we cut them down, they don't say anything. But that is because their consciousness is also not so developed. Be more tolerant than a tree. With all your consciousness, be tolerant. Then, amanina manadena. Give all respect to others and don't seek any respect in return. Ignore the praise of others. Don't eat that and get fat on it. Mm-hmm. Huh? Then, kirtaniya sadahari, in such a state of mind, then you can chant the names of the Lord always. So all these qualities, humility, tolerance, etc., they are essential. Spiritual life is not intellectual. Just learning, like you read books, you study, you remember, you learn. If you're not integrating, that's all useless. It's just food for the ego. Mm-hmm. And the integration, I'm saying, is by chanting. That purifies everything.
My one caveat, of course, would be we need discernment, so we can't allow people to abuse us or mistreat us or disrespect us.
Yes.
So it's important to have self-respect.
It's respect. Respect others doesn't mean you want to rape me. Please, here's a carpet. You can, so you're comfortable standing. No. Respecting means also, like you're saying, it has to be done with intelligence. You have to see the difference. If you have a rose bush and a dog, you don't put a collar on the bush, drag it out of the earth and take it for a walk and bury the dog in nice soil and sprinkle water on it. So you have to know what things are in order to treat them. And you also should deal with, if somebody is very wicked, you don't treat them the same way you treat somebody who's very good or who's very innocent, but you do so from a place of being centered. Right. There is no anger. There is no hatred. You know, when a parent chastises a child, when a teacher chastises a student, it may sound very strong, but it is coming from a place of goodness, of love. Otherwise, it's a big problem. So that absolutely that discrimination must be there, always. But, and you'll see it when you see the person that is dealing out whatever, when you see them in different situations in life and you see how they respond, then you begin to get an understanding of their consciousness. Then you can trust them more.
I think a good place to conclude for today's conversation would be given just knowing that it's like knowing the weather. I think I see astrology as what it's also, we want to know if it's going to rain today.
Sure.
Is it going to be cold? Is it going to be cloudy? Then we dress appropriately, right?
Yes.
And we also plan activities according to that. We're not going to go
Panchanga.
Right.
Yeah.
So looking at cosmic events such as the eclipses, we know that we're not going to, our Ojas, our natural immunity is going to be lower. Our Agni, our metabolic fire, is going to be lower. It's going to be compromised. A lot of even our buddhi, our discernment, our ability to know what is real and what is not, it's also going to be less. Given all that, I would say just overall my biggest piece, I think, nugget, and maybe you can offer your biggest piece of advice too. Mine would be try to avoid making big decisions right now. If you can avoid it. If you cannot avoid it, then simplify your life as much as possible, because in Ayurveda, we say the more chaotic your life is, the more simple your diet should be. Diet doesn't just mean food. It's everything you're taking into the five senses. So I would say the same thing with the more chaotic the cosmos, simplify where you can. Don't do the things you don't have to do. Just make it easier on yourself right now, because it is heavier right now. It is more difficult to discern and make decisions and have the clarity. Things are compromised. So I would just offer to those listening, if things feel harder, it's probably because they are definitely harder. It's not in your head. You're not imagining things. This is real.
And it's connected to the eclipse.
It is.
And just because it's far out and beautiful and everything doesn't mean it's good. Just remember how many things you've been attracted to in your life that turned out not to be good. Don't trust your senses. Don't trust your mind. How many people got tattoos done 20, 30 years ago that, oh my God, what was I thinking?
Seemed like a good idea at the time.
Going into the eclipse. I know. Oh man, this is so I don't know, conservative and stodgy and boring. I mean, come on, it's far out. Like the black and the corolla and the colors, and it's like such a totally cosmic event. No, it's very harmful. Don't go out there. Stay home. Don't let the light in. Just engage in spiritual activities. Meditate on God. Whatever you meditate on is what you're going to. So why meditate on something that isn't God? Everybody who's good at anything is meditating on that thing. whether it's music or basketball, meditate on God. Think about God, read shastras, philosophy, speak to people about it, chant, absorb yourself in spiritual life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all you can do, because this is a very heavy, and these are very heavy times. It's not just the eclipse. There's so much in Kali Yuga. These are very, very heavy times.
Mm-hmm.
And just because we're not, like right now today, most of us here, we're in Austin. This is a cool place. We're pretty entitled. Although there are a lot of people in Austin suffering right now.
We're blessed.
They've lost children.
Yeah.
They've lost jobs. They've lost their family. I mean, everybody's suffering. But you look at the world. You look at the places where the fires are raging, where wars are raging, where terrible tyrannical regimes are raging. Open your heart. Realize.
Pray for people.
Yes. This is heavy place, heavy time. Turn towards the light.
Yeah. We need all the help we can get. I think also that points to the need for community, but not just anyone to lessen the loneliness. I think we need to be very careful about who we surround ourselves with and avoid the negativity and really feed the light. Whatever we feed is what will grow.
And question. George Harrison, Traveling Wilburys. George Harrison was a disciple of my original guru, Srila Prabhupada. He was a Hare Krishna. People don't realize. With that long hair, he said to Prabhupada, shouldn't I shave my head like, no, you don't do. You are going all over the world. They see you, they like you. You don't want to make them think strangely.
Yeah.
George Harrison caused the Hare Krishna mantra to be heard all over the world.
Amazing.
George Harrison. My Sweet Lord.
Yeah, I was just going to say My Sweet Lord is one of my favorite songs. And I was waiting to mention that. He was such a
beautiful person. And he said to Prabhupada, you give all your disciples a name. Why you don't give me a name? I'm yours. So Prabhupada said, your name is Harisan, Hari's son of Hari. Hari is the name of Krishna. Means
Harrison,
the stealer of
George
hearts.
Harrison.
Krishna has already given you a name. Why will give you another? So he sang when he was with the Traveling Wilburys. He sang a song, and in it was this fantastic line. If you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. You have to use your intelligence, ask questions, listen. Try to understand, find out, what is the goal of life?
Yes.
Why are we here? What is something worth living for that will go on after? Because I will die soon. Everything here I will leave. This body, mind, family, job, all of it gone. What's the point? Why did I come? And why have I got what I've got? Why she got what she's got? Why they got what they've got? Why is the dog a dog, the worm a worm, the fly a fly, the spider, the praying mantis, the king, the pauper, the beggar, why? What's got, this is so incredibly perfect. It's so amazingly exact and detailed and interconnected. Why? Who am I? What is my purpose in being? In being, not just this life, in being. Ask questions, study, look for people that you feel can give you some answers. Don't accept blindly. Don't even accept what you already believe blindly. Don't be attached to your belief just because you've got it. Be willing to step back. Present what you think to others who are, you can see they know something, and try to elevate your thoughts beyond what they are. We just know enough right now to keep us exactly where we are. If you want to go further, you're going to have to let go some of this, bring in something new, constant death and rebirth.
Any last things that you'd want to mention to our listeners about things that you'd like to promote about your work? Or
I was just going to say chant Hare Krishna. Thank you for that. So I have a website called.
We'll put it in the show notes. We'll put your info in the show notes.
Yes, I can tell you, and you'll, Narasingha speaker.
Okay.
Is it .com or .org? I am so not in tune with that. My friends did it. I've written some books, but I'm the main book that I want to bring people's attention to, which should be completed by the fall, is called The Indian Odyssey of an English Jew by Narasingha. And that will be on the website. And I'm going to use that as well as the other books. Like I have one book available on Amazon. It's called Are We There Yet? Mm-hmm. And How Did We Get Here Anyway? By Narasingha. There's a couple of other authors that have used the same title, Are We There Yet?
Beautiful.
So make sure it's Are We There Yet? By Narasingha, spiritual book.
And then you also teach the Bhagavad Gita here at Casa de Luz.
Yes, I'm here in Austin at the Casa de Luz most Tuesdays and leading kirtan and talking about the philosophy of life according to Bhagavad Gita. Mm-hmm. But it's very relatable, practical, and questions and answers. Most Tuesdays at 6:30 at the Serena Room. When I'm not in town, I have other friends who they'll read from Bhagavad Gita and do mm-hmm. kirtan as well. And also, I'm looking to develop a profession, a service as a speaker mm-hmm. to do events in different places. Hopefully by the end of the year, something will get going there. So, but how funny. I can't remember my own website to tell you.
Well, Nara, thank you so much for your service, for your devotion.
Thank you. I'm just trying to be of service to my gurus. That's all.
You're doing a great job.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Sasha. It's very lovely to be with you and to speak with you and hear so many of your own realizations and commitments. Wonderful. Thank you.
Hey, y'all. Sasha here with a quick note before you go. If you've been listening to Ojas Oasis and are ready to explore what personalized Ayurvedic guidance with me could look like, I invite you to book a 30-minute strategy session with me. Normally, I charge $150 for a 30-minute consultation, but for podcast listeners, I'm offering this call for $100. We will discuss what you're hoping to create in your health and daily life. I'll share whether my approach feels like a good fit for you and what next steps might support you. You can book your session by clicking the link in the show notes. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.